Yeah, I'm hoping that that once we clean this up, we can open source it. Our goal is to open source this tool, but my part of doing that is I have to give live presentations to people because there is something there's something funny when you're composing music. You can make as many mistakes as you want, but if you're playing a concert in public, you can't say, oh, never mind, forget I just played that, and then do it again. Unless you're like really drunk or a famous rock star or both. Then everyone's like, oh, it's okay. And I think that Chalktalk started out being much less friendly for performance than it is. I made a lot of mistakes by making it too much of a compositional tool, and so the cognitive load on me was too high. And it's been simplified and streamlined, and over the course of using it for 2 years, it's now much easier to use, which means I can be focusing on what I'm talking about, not like, oh, where was that thing? And that process, I think, will get even further when other people are using it, and a lot of people are using it. Hopefully it'll get streamlined the right amount, not too much. It won't turn into like just, pinch to zoom or something, which is kind of a shame. I wanted to also mention that, we had this problem in our lab that we could put on all of these cool shows, but in order to show them, we needed access to a $50,000 motion capture system. In fact, since we had a larger room for Flock, we showed it at the Africa Center in Manhattan, which is a really, really large space, but the total cost of all the OptiTracks and everything ran to like about $90-something thousand. And we had it. We had all that equipment. We just took all the mocap stuff from all the different mocap labs around NYU, and we just put it there for 3 days. But that's not an answer. That's not an answer to how do you get lots of people doing things. So the Vive is awesome, but there's only a few 100,000 of them in the world. And even the Sony PS4 virtual reality, there's only going to be a few million of them, because it's a console, so it's like about 10 times as many. But smartphones, right now in December 2016, there's 2.1 billion smartphones in the world. And there's things like low-cost data tablets. Kids outside of Delhi in northern India are given $50 data tablets, which are kind of like the Amazon Fire. But they basically, and $50, 7-inch diagonal tablet, we can all share a world together, but stupid motion tracking equipment is too expensive. So we decided to solve that problem in particular because we could make the software easily available. And the way we did that is, first of all, the whole Google Cardboard notion is evolving a lot. Like I can run stuff on my phone here, and I've got the IMU, the gyroscope, which means that I can make things tumble and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And I can have something that's like a cardboard in my pocket. Basically, I always carry this in my pocket. This is called the Homido, and it's let's see, if I put this here. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get my phone to hook up to your Wi-Fi, so I can't do the live demo of the phone because the phone won't connect to your Wi-Fi. It's like Android and your Wi-Fi don't like each other. But basically, if it were running, I basically could. I have all these applets, these JavaScript stuff that's running on my NYU homepage, and I could just be looking around in virtual worlds, and it's fun at parties. But there's a problem, which is it's not room scale. Do I need to tell the host of the party you have to install a $50,000 OptiTrack system so I can impress my friends? I can tell them that. So what we did instead was we did this. So this is really wonderfully nerdy. You hook this up here like that. Okay. You turn this thing on. Okay. It also works in infrared. Those are ping pong balls. And then I think I can do this if I have this right. Let me see. There's a little demo. It's going to be really tiny on this giant high-res screen, so you won't be able to see it very well, but we'll do the best we can. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be really small. Sorry about that. That little window there, which is actually decent size on my computer screen, but not on this one. And then what this is doing is sending out information, blah, 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 and then exposure. So I'm going to hold this up to my little camera. And what's happening now is the information from the gyroscope in my phone, which is just giving three axes of rotation, which I just explained the math to you for, plus the position of these two things and the knowledge that it has of how far away they are from each other is enough that I could actually be like way over there. I could be like 20 feet away, and it would. And basically those two circles, because circles are really easy to track, those two circles, figuring out what the positions and radii of the circles are, putting it together, that information, sending that to this computer, I can actually then basically say, well, actually, even the phone, I can just calculate, oh, this is the position and orientation. And basically, this phone then becomes room scale. And that's really useful because it means that starting this next year, we're going to be able to do these hologram experiences, flock-like experiences, and people would just take their phones out of their pocket, go to a web page, and we just hand them these things. And if you make enough of them, they only cost a few bucks. And so we're going to be able to bring this to the masses. And in fact, we can probably, I'm talking to people who are making educational content for those kids in India who have those $50 tablets, and we should be able to make versions that run like for 1 billion people in this other part of the world who don't even have the fancy smartphones. And to me, that's much more exciting because then it stops being this like interesting university lab project and it starts getting out into the world. And big companies like Google are interested in that, but they're not interested in that yet. So something like Google Tango, they are taking their time. They're like waiting. You know, Magic Leap is working on stuff that it's going to release 3 years from now. But we don't want to wait. We want people to have these shared experiences now. And so we actually formed a spin-off company out of the university, surprisingly, not to make money, but because the only way you can actually reliably provide the technology to people in the world is you have to get out of the university to do it, because the university is not set up for that. So the university has a piece of the company, but now the company is actually responsible for actually getting these to real people and making sure they work. So we get a lot of interest from educators, not surprisingly. So I just wanted to mention that because it's cool and it's like the future that we're making right now. Yes?